Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and this week I'm going right back into anime with a show that I rewatched for the first time in years, and that one is The Wandering Witch, The Journey of Elaina. And this one always kind of stuck with me for a simple reason. For me, it was because it was reminiscent of one that I'm going to talk about at length at some point, and that is Kino's journey. If you've been familiar with anything like the Nier games or the Kino's journey or whatever, Wandering Witch goes about their concepts the same way. And I've actually tried to mix around my D&D campaign in the same kind of vein, where I have a lot of strange occurrences in different places and do different things, because those are the ways the world works, and you just have to kind of wander in and accept it for what it is and go about it. And the journey of Elaina follows that same path with Kino's journey, I'd say in a more comedic fashion, but it still does some darker things. And there is one episode I definitely want to mention. I think it's the one that everybody will remember if you've ever heard about the show or watched it. And that was the one I wanted to get to when I rewatched this. But The Wandering Witch is Elaina. She grows up, and there's a lot of flashbacks to her being an early teenager, where she grows up reading a book known as, I believe it's The Journey of Nike. We are never told outright, but we can pretty much assume that her mother is the one who wrote it based on her own journey. And I think they eventually outright tell you, though they don't mention it until way later. That's kind of why she's in on the whole thing and wants her to do it. So Elaina ends up graduating the Witch Academy and all that junk as her own witch fairly early in her life. I was like 14, 15 years old. So she spends a little bit of time with another witch known as Fran. And Fran is intentionally not teaching her anything for like a month, is messing with her and doing things and not just being a complete, bleh. Elaina gets sick of it, only to find out that Fran knows a lot more and is a lot stronger than she looks, and pummels her into dirt. But Elaina doesn't give up, understands that Elaina was earnest and trying to understand it, but it was a plan from her mother and father along to kind of get her in the mindset of seeing if she was up to the task. Understanding that this is not an easy journey. It's not an easy thing to do. So for a while, it could be like 6 months to a year, Elaina learns everything from Fran and then becomes the Ashen Witch. And a lot of the fun is knowing that Elaina just loves her hair, loves talking about it, thinks she's beautiful, and she has a sense of humor about it. But she never comes across as completely self-obsessed, but it's more jovial in a jokey sort of manner, but you can kind of tell it's there. Every time they do the bumper screen and she says, "Who's this amazing, lovely young witch?" And of course, it's me, stupid shit like that. It's not meant to be taken seriously. Even stuff like a couple episodes in where you meet the other witch, I believe it's Saya, and where she's trying to be friends and whatever, and Elaina is just like, "Dude, you're coming on too strong, girl. I don't like you in that way," and it becomes a sort of obsession. But then she's not stupid enough to not realize that, okay, you're playing me for a fool. You stole my stuff. Now, what are you doing? She's able to kind of sense things. She's able to see things for what they are, as weird as things get. Because he goes and tries to find different things. And again, this is where the Kino's journey concept comes in. Kino's journey, you're traveling from city to city, and Kino and Hermes are taking their time going from a city. They spend 3 days in a city, and they learn about its cultures and things. And the original specifically, not even so much the remake. The remake goes for a little more stylized and straightforward anime setup. The Kino's journey is very subdued and almost morose at times and slow. Elaina, again, is played for comedy, but you still get these weird situations. Like going to a place where they're burning a lot of flowers and other things, and why are they burning the flowers? Well, you find out that one of the flower beds out in the middle of nowhere are capturing folks and basically eating people. There's another one where this woman is the only one left in a city, and you have to figure out why there's this gigantic demon dragon every night stomping the shit out of things. So Elaina is or is not helping, or is mainly just watching the other lady destroy her own city. You know, or there's a comedic one where there is these people trying to create grapes, and the lady who's supposedly making the grapes is this beautiful woman, and they're like, well, we need a beautiful woman to make the grapes ourselves because that's how we compete. And then it's like this weird competing this or that whatever narrative of, okay, well, let's have Elaina do it because she's the one stopping the grapes. And then you find, oh no, that's not exactly what's going on. It's really silly. You know, stuff is played for laughs. Even, I'd say the final episode or two is played a little bit for laughs, a little too much. But then you get into that, like, episode 9, episode 10. And if you've ever seen it, you'll know which one it is. And I do want to put up a spoiler warning, just in case. I'm not going to put a spoiler warning for the entire app of the podcast, but I do want to just preface it for the next few minutes, just be like, if you haven't seen it, you're gonna see it. This episode goes in strange ways, so next few minutes until probably the end of the episode, just Elaina goes to a city and she's trying to earn some money. She gets prompted by this other witch. It's like, just take my money, help me out, and no questions. So they strike up a deal. We find out that this lady's been taking her own life force, basically her blood, for years, and has been trying to fashion a method to time travel to a point in time to stop a murder from taking place. Because she believes that the murder of someone's family has been caused by someone else, and that her friend was wrongly accused or has been affected in some way, and just all that stuff. So, as if, you know, a blood transfusion into a time travel device wasn't weird enough. You find out a few minutes into it, you start seeing these like shady people wandering around, and you meet. She ends up meeting, because she's older, the witch in question, not Elaina, but the witch in the episode, is confronted by a younger version of her friend. And it's a weird situation where she can't control herself and she's getting just overwhelmed. And she says, don't cause any trouble, things will be okay. They meet their family, and their parents are kind of like, are they hurting her? Are they abusing her? Is something strange? They make these weird remarks about what they're wearing, and it's a little bit of a tip-off that something weird's happening. It turns out, while things are happening, the girl in question is the one who causes the problem. And what I will say is, it ends up being a fight. But it's not even so much the fight. It's the fact that the show shows everything. It shows all of the blood, all of the fire, all of the pain, all of the crazy. And the image of this girl covered in masses of blood, laughing as her friend is killing her. And then it ends up causing both her and Elaina lasting mental trauma as they come back. I mean, the fact that it wasn't even the last episode, that they have some like weird like the spoiler warning's done, by the way, but the fact that you can do this and then go to like the finale episodes where it's kind of like, okay, we done that crazy ass shit. What do we do now to finish the show? Well, the next couple of episodes are just random, or they'll have this like, they pull off this weird thing where there's like multiple Elainas from multiple timelines or something, and it just comes off as very goofy, trying to kind of stem the tide back from, oh my god, we went super fucking weird and super fucking dark, and almost to a ridiculous extent, to this. It's a bit of a sea change, and I don't know. It's like, if you're gonna go this far, I don't know. It is the one episode that everybody's gonna remember, because they don't have to go that far. And in most cases, this show doesn't even do that all that often. Even the episode with the princess and the dragon, they don't go that deep into it. It's more of subtle nuance and stuff. I think they intentionally said, oh god, we can get away with as dark as shit as we want. Let's fucking go. Let's see what we can do. And then put up the disclaimer and said, okay, well, let's go with it. But I wonder if it was both a disservice to the rest of the show by not being consistent with the tone, or if it benefited the show by being so drastically different and being so memorable. So I don't know what is the right way of going about it, because you want to always create something that people are going to remember, but you're always like, does this fit the show? Because it's played more wink, wink, nudge, nudge, happy jokes and comedy. Some of the darker stuff doesn't play as well, and going that far does not seem internally consistent. So if this was Kino's journey, I'd have no, like, if this was Nier, like, no, I have no qualms about that episode going as far as it does, because that's what Nier and Kino's journey do. I think because there's this competing urge to be both super comedic yet sometimes dark, going as far as they did was a disservice. But in the end of the day, is the Wandering Witch still good? And I would say it still is. Because the main character herself is fun to be around. For all the jokiness and kind of the haughtiness of her sometimes, she plays it well enough. She straddles the line between being pompous and being jokey about it, you know. And as we've seen in episodes like the crazy one, she's not infallible. She's not like impossible to stop or hurt or maim or whatever, you know. So it's not like she has unlimited power. She just is good at her job. But at the same time, you do have to come to grips with the fact that some of this stuff is strange. You get to where all these different cities are, you kind of have to accept that the way these worlds or the way these cities are structured, you just have to accept it. And if you're not used to like Kino's journey, or specifically Nier 1, I think Nier Automata does its own kind of way, but Nier 1 was specifically, they emphasized Kino's journey as an influence. So if you haven't watched Kino's journey or are not familiar with that sort of thing, the way that Elaina works as a concept might be a little awkward at times, because it is very episodic. But there are still some enjoyable stories inside the content. I don't think it coalesces into something super amazing, but it's still memorable in a certain way. So if you want something off the beaten path but still very jokey, I think you'll find a good show in this. But that'll do it for today's episode. And what are we doing in the next set of episodes? Let's see here. We've got Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, the Megumin spinoff, which will be debuting a week or so before the new Konosuba season. That's good. Sea of Stars, Goblin Slayer Season 2. I had to say it. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth. Having played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I will say Infinite Wealth and Persona 3 Reload are better than Rebirth solely because the ending. Anyway, but Infinite Wealth was my favorite game so far this year. We got Speed Grapher, and then we're going to do the second ever Mega May. Mega Man 2, Mega Man 3, Mega Man X3, and Mega Man 0. So that should be an interesting change of pace. So that'll do for today. Another short, quick episode. And I'll see you guys next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.